If you're tired of playing the same old boring triads over and over, then give these simple sus chords a try. They'll spice up your playing and give you a more authentic gospel sound. There are tons of different sus chords, but today I'll teach you the two most common ones and show you a bunch of fun ways that you can use them. Let's take a look at the makeup of a simple major chord. The C major chord, for example, is comprised of 3 notes. We've got the root, the major third, and the 5th. This middle note right here is where all the magic happens. Listen to how much this chord changes if I move this E up to an F. Now this chord is called a sus 4 chord because I'm moving this middle note, which is the 3rd, up to the 4th note, so sus 4. Now I personally think of this as the amen chord because let's say you're ending a hymn. And then you can go, amen. See that? So that 4 going down to the 3 is the amen. Oh, by the way, I'm Jacob, and I'm a teacher at Piano by Pictures, where we teach thousands of adult beginners to play piano with fun, easy videos like this. Click the link in the description of this video if you want to learn piano with the help of a supportive community using a really easy method. Now, the next type of sus chord is the sus 2. And it works the same way as the sus 4. It's the same logic. So we have our basic C chord, and then we move this 3 down to the 2, and that's where it gets the name sus 2. Now, I think of this as the 80s chord because it's used in Purple Rain. It's also used in a bunch of other 80s songs, so I think of it as the 80s chord. Now, the sus 4 sort of needs to be handled carefully, but the sus 2 works on pretty much any chord. Now, before we get into more real-world examples, let's take a moment to practice sussing some common chords. Let's take a G, for example. Got this G major chord. Now, if we move this middle note, this B, up to a C, we've got our G sus 4. If we go back to our G chord, then if we move that middle note down to the 2, we've got our G sus 2. So here's a regular old G, here's a G sus 4, here's a regular old G, and then here's a G sus 2. It's actually a pretty good finger exercise as well. Now let's try an F chord. So here's the 1, the 3, the 5. Let's move that 3rd note up to the 4. That's not quite right. If we take a closer look at the C sus 4, we'll see that this F right here is right next to the 3rd. It's right next to the E. There's no keys in between them. Now, if we look at this F sus 4 that we tried to play, well, okay, so here's this A. There's this B flat in between this B that we're playing. So if we correct this and make the distances or intervals of the notes the same across the F chord and the C chord, we'll play F, B flat, and C. And see how this A and this B flat are right next to each other. That's called a half step. When you're going from a major chord to a sus 4, you really got to make sure that that 4th note really is the 4th note and it's right next to the 3. So let's try another chord, D. So here's our D major, and then if we move up just 1 half step, we've got our G, so that's our D sus 4. Here's our regular D, and then here's our D sus 2. Let's get crazy. Let's try a G flat. So we've got a G flat, a B flat, and a D flat. Now, we just need to move this B flat up to this C flat, which is right next to it. So that there's that half step again. And then we'll move down to the sus 2. So here's the G flat, here's the G flat sus 4, here's the G flat, and then here's that G flat sus 2. Whether you're playing on the white keys or the black keys or a mix of them, the intervals, those distances between the notes is retained. All right, let's move past all this theory stuff and let's make some music. We're gonna play a fun little song that uses major chords, sus 2s, and sus 4s. Due to YouTube's strict copyright enforcement, I will not be teaching you Free Fallin' by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I instead will teach you a song that I wrote called Expensive Floating. In the right hand, we're gonna play a C chord. We're going to play a C sus 4. We're gonna play another C sus 4. regular C, and then lands on the C sus2. And in the left hand, we're just gonna play a C. And I don't care which C you play in the left hand, it's just a C, it doesn't matter. Let's play it together a few times. Let's try it on the F chord. I don't know, let's get crazy. Let's try it on an A chord. Super fun. Okay, I gotta talk about this because I think it's fun. The sus in sus chord does not mean suspicious, it means suspended. The difference between a C and a C sus4 might not sound like a lot, but listen to the difference that it makes on the ending of Amazing Grace. It's like I give you most of the ending you're expecting. The audience is expecting the C chord, and I give them almost all of it, except for I've raised that E up to the fourth note, which is this F, and then everything falls into place and it's satisfying. So it's a suspension. You're leaving the audience in suspense. Or you're doing a sus prize. I'm setting the audience up to expect something, and I give them most of what they want, except for one thing that's wrong. So that's a sus4. And you can also do that sus2, and then that 2 falls into place. So that's kind of where the whole idea of sus comes from. Now we've been talking about sus chords a lot with our students at Piano by Pictures Academy, and here are some common questions that we get asked all the time. Can minor chord be sus? Yeah, absolutely, it works the same way. Let's take an A minor chord. We can move that third up to this D, and then have it fall into place. We can have this B, and then have that fall into place. It works the same way. Oh man, I didn't even think of this, but you could do like a sad version of Expensive Floating. That's cool. It's silly. All right. So yeah, minor chords, you can make a minor chord sus. Okay, what happens if you're reading a chord chart and the chord chart just says something like G sus and doesn't specify what kind of sus? So often sus chords are interchangeable. If the chord chart says sus and doesn't tell you which sus chord to use, that means that it's up to you. There's a lot of rules and theory that you can get into with it, but I would say honestly, just trust your ear, try it both ways, and if one sounds better, do that one. Can you invert a sus chord? Yeah, absolutely. They sound even cooler if you invert them. So an inversion real quick is just taking a chord and flipping the notes around. So if I have my C chord, I'll just bump the C up an octave. So this has now been inverted. Can bump this up an octave. It's inverted. All of these are still C chords. I'm still playing the notes C, E, and G. It's still a C chord. It doesn't matter what the order is. And it works the same with suspensions as well too. I can take my C sus4 and I can move this C up here. You can even take this F, move it on top. You get this lovely sus4 voicing. Let's try it on G. Try it on the F. Then do it on the C again. Oh, that's so churchy, that's nice. There's a ton of other different sus chords, like this is a G sus, this is a G sus, this is a G sus. This is a G sus, this is a G sus, this is a G. There's tons of different ways that you can do a sus chord. Do you remember this bad F sus from earlier? This is one of my favorite chords of all time, actually. Listen to it in the context of Total Praise by Richard Smallwood. There it is. And then there's another sus chord. There's another sus chord. And then C. Those are some beautiful chords that Mr. Smallwood wrote. And this F chord on this sharp is just like one of the most beautiful suspensions I've ever heard. It's also in Happy Birthday. Here. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, so Happy Birthday has one of my favorite chords in it. Who would have thought? Now, I'm not showing you all these examples to scare you. but I would like you to be aware of the crazy power of sus chords. And just the idea of taking a chord and moving a note up and then having it fall back into place, this opens up so many creative possibilities. But if this concept is new to you, I recommend practicing both the sus4, the sus2 chords, heck, even just practice your regular chords until you get used to the idea. First, focus on common chords that you already know. And then as you learn new chords, just know that this is an idea, this is a concept that you can then apply to them and apply to the songs that you're learning. All right, well, that's pretty much everything you need to know about sus chords. Obviously, this is a concept that can be taken very far. But if this concept is brand new to you, just go ahead and click the link in the description, download your free worksheet, and just practice the songs in there to get it in your hands. And once it feels more comfortable in the hands, you'll be just doing this without even thinking about it, I promise. Well, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and God bless.